ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहितः प्रज्ञानघनः प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ओम मंत्र नंबर 9 and 10। अतः समुद्रा गिरयश्च सर्वे अतः समुद्रा गिरयश्च सर्वे अस्मात् स्यन्दन्ति सिन्धवः सर्वरूपाः अस्मात् स्यन्दन्ति सिन्धवः सर्वरूपाः अतश्च सर्वा ओषधयो रसश्च अतश्च सर्वा ओषधयो रसश्च येनैष भूतैस्तिष्ठते ह्यन्तरात्मा येनैष भूतैस्तिष्ठते ह्यन्तरात्मा पुरुष एवेदं विश्वं कर्म तपो ब्रह्म परामृतम् पुरुष एवेदं विश्वं कर्म तपो ब्रह्म परामृतम् एतद्यो वेद निहितं गुहायाम् एतद्यो वेद निहितं गुहायां सो विद्या ग्रंथिं विकिरतीह सौम्य सो विद्या ग्रंथिं विकिरतीह सौम्य। See the whole section. You have to look at the Granth, the scripture, holistically. What we call it in Purvapara Sambandha. What was said before, what is said now, and what is being said later. Or at least what is said now has a connection to what was said before. See how it started. This, if you should have the books, just look at it. The second mantra is Divyo Hyavartah Purushaha Sabahya Bhyantaro Hyajaha Aprano Hyavana Shubbraha Hyaksharat Paratah Paraha. He says Purushaha is Divyaha. Then Purushaha is Aksharaha. Divyo Hyamurtah Purushaha Bahyabhyantaro Hyada. That Purusha is Bahya as well as Abhyantar. It is inside as well as outside, and it is Ajaha. Purusha is unborn. That was said. Then the question comes, that is Akshara, Purusha. And that Aksharam Yaya Tad Brahma Adhigamyate, that was in the first section. I'll tell you about the Aksharam by which you know Brahman, Paravidya. So that same Paravidya is knowledge of Akshara Purusha. And this is how Swaminarayan has derived the Akshara Purusha and Akshar Purusha. Akshar Purushottam Purusha. Swaminarayan has that. That just comes from here. Now, this Purusha, who is Divyaha, who is Aksharaha, is Amurtaha. Divyo Hyamurtah Purusha. So that is a subject matter of Paravidya, Akshara Purusha. And that Purusha was unfolded in the earlier section. Now, the question comes, if Purusha is Amurta, is formless, and then Divyo Hyamurta Purusha, Yakshara Abahya Bhanta, then what about the forms? If Purusha is Divya and Amurta, how do we account these forms? This means the entire Jagat. Forms mean the world that you and I comprehend. It's a form. Like mobile is a form. Words are also a form. What you hear is a form. What you smell is a form. So if Purusha is Divya and Amurta, how do you account for this Jagat? Okay. Then what about me? How do I account for me? Who am I? That is being answered in this whole section. Up from second mantra to 10th mantra. Even you can say the first mantra to 10th mantra. What was said about is that they said, I am by nature formless. It was discussed. And I wield a form. That is a form that is there for me. Then what about that form? Is there duality? I am formless. What I express, from where I express, what I wield is a form. So is it separate from me? No. Therefore, the whole prakriya, all the discussion from number 2 onwards, mantra number 2 onwards, when he says, etasmat jayate prana manas sarvendriya kriyaha vayu kham jyotirapaha prithvi vishwasya dharini. From these alone, everything is born. Prithvi and Akash and Vayu and Agni and Jalam, Pancha Mahabhutas are born. Prana is born, Indriyas are born. Then not here only, hereafter Agni, Murda, Chakshushi, Surya, Dishasrotre, Vag Vivrutascha, Vayu Prano, Radhayam Vishwamasya, Prithvi Hesha Sarva Bhutantaratma. So, entire Jagat, all the pranas and all Mahabhutas and whole world hereafter also, what you see or what you don't see, what is there today and what was there in the past and what will be there in the future, everything is nothing but that has come about from Purusha. Tasmad Ruchasami Yajumshi Saravan. We have seen all these mantras. Mantra number 7. From Samvatsaraha, Lokasha, Kala has come. Different lokas has come. Sapta Pranaha have come. It means All the entire Jagat, this world and lokas above and below, whatever is, they are from Purusha. They are born out of Purusha. Purusha is the cause and therefore non-separate from Purusha. Having said that, then it goes that Akshara manifests as Chaitanya when it comes in contact with the Sukshma Sharira, and that Sukshma Sharira in touch with Sthula Sharira, then that Purusha expresses itself as an individual, as a subject. It is the very subject alone. That means there is an individuality out of ignorance. That individuality is nothing but pure consciousness. It is the same Purusha. That Jagat Karanam Brahma Etasmat Jayate Prana Khammana Sarvendriyani Chaityadi, from whom everything is born, that Purusha expresses itself as an individual because of identification with Sthula, first Sukshma and thereby Sthula Sharira. Sukshma Sharira identifies with the given Sthula Sharira, and that Purusha having expressed through that Antakaranam, Sukshma Sharira, gets identified. How, why, no answer. That is ignorance. That is Maya. How it has come, any ignorance or Maya, why and how it has come, there is no answer. So that Purusha becomes individual. And that individual becomes subject with reference to the Jagat. It becomes the object. Listen, from the standpoint of view of Chaitanya, the consciousness, whatever is the entire Jagat is nothing but manifestation of Purusha. It is non-separate from Purusha. It is the Purusha. And it is Satchidananda Atma alone. So, this is pointed out two things. Just note this very carefully. This is where people don't see and that confusion arises. What's the confusion? That about the Purusha, about the Jagat they have in front of them. And that is where they get confused. What is it? Point first is, it revealed what is Purusha, Devyohya Murtaha. Then it revealed that whatever is, that has come about from Purusha. Purushat idam sat. So we have to understand two-way Purusha. Purusha in its Swarupa. In its Swarupa is consciousness. Purusha in its Swarupa is me. That obtaining me is actually Purusha, not separate from me. There is no other Purusha separate from me. That obtaining I is Purusha. And the manifestation of Purusha. We have to understand the expression of Purusha. Jagat is expression of Purusha, which is because of Maya. Purusha expresses itself as Jagat because of Maya. And thereby it becomes a Vivarta Upadana Karana. It is not Parinami Upadana Karana. It is a Vivarta Upadana Karanam. So that expression is in terms of name and forms. Any Mai Karyam, any Maya Karya caused by Maya is only name and form. So we have to understand the Purusha first. Divyo Hyamurta. Then you understand the Jagat. And from Purusha to Jagat, there is in between, that it is a Vivarta Upadana. Purusha becomes Vivarta Upadana Karanam because of Maya. So that is why Maya comes in between. Achintya Shakti, or you can say that Prakriti comes in between. Because of that Prakriti, Purusha becomes Jagat Karanam. And because of Jagat Karanam, how Jagat Karanam? It is Jagat Karanam because of Vivarta Upadana Karanam. Unless you appreciate this aspect of Purusha, that it is Amurtaha and it has its unique power, Prakriti, then only, unless you appreciate these two facts, you cannot appreciate that Purusha is everything. That Jagat is non-separate from Purusha. Okay? So, Purusha Swarupataha Arupaha, in its expression, it becomes Sarupa. In its Swarupa, it is Nirupamaha. It has no Rupa. Swarupataha. Swarupataha, it is formless, Arupaha. In expression, it becomes Sarupaha. How? The space is formless. It is limitless. But in its expression, in its manifestation, in terms of utility, it becomes with form. Expression is Sarupa for utility. You know, these architects, they say this, you know, they use this word. You might have noticed when they build the apartments, they just go on building floor after the floor. They fill up the slabs and go to the last slab. Finished. Now you see in between only the space. So-called floor is just a one space, non-dual space. It is formless space. During that space, there may be 4 families accommodation, 4 apartments on each floor, maybe 2 or sometimes 6 or 10 if it is condos. Then they first divide that. And you know what they say? We create space. That's how architect used the word. This is bedroom space. This is drawing room space. This space is for dining and kitchen. This is master bedroom space. This is master bedroom wardrobe space. I don't know why they call it wardrobe. Because when she opens, war only drops. I don't have this and I don't have that. So it must be dropping war. So it must, they call it wardrobe thing. We in India, we call it simple cupboard, but they call it wardrobe. So, or maybe, anyway, forget it. One fellow said, I love my clothes. He said, why you love your clothes? Okay, I love them more than my wife. What are you talking? Yes. How? They said, they are so respectful to me. They are so respectful to me and always ready to serve. So whenever I open my cupboard, they fall in my feet. They are waiting to fall in my feet. So I love them. They always fall in my feet. That's why I love it. Anyway, let's get back to the point. This space, bedroom space. So expression is Sarupa. The space per se is Arupa. But the expression becomes Sarupa. How is it possible that expression is only a mithya? Though you call it bedroom space, You call it drawing room space, but there is no division. It is only from the standpoint of view of the walls. Ghatakasha, 5-liter pot, 10-liter pot, it is only standpoint. The space remains undivided. Though there is an apparent division of a wall, but the wall itself is in the space. You can say that. Why? The whole building is in space. 25-story whole building is within the space. How are you going to divide it? So division is apparent. So sarupatvam of the space in case of apartments is only apparent. Similarly, arupa purusha becoming sarupa is only apparent. And that apparent, right word for apparent is mithya. And any mithya creation is possible only when there is it, the cause becomes vivartakar, upadanakar. Its cause, material cause, has to be vivarta upadana. And so too, you need to understand Brahman, divyohya murta purusha. And that purusha, through its maya or prakriti, you call it achintya shakti, becomes sarupa, becomes as though. There is no becoming. Okay? So as though becomes sarupa, and therefore entire sarupa, entire world is nothing but purusha. And that is like even the space becomes sarupa. So all the spaces, if there is a plural to space, I don't know. Then if I'm using my bedroom space and neighbor's bedroom space and blah, 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 all that space is there. All this space is apparently like this. Otherwise, it is not. So you can say all these so many bedroom space is total space. All the apartment space is total space. Puja Swamiji used to give this example in a different context, but I can use that here. When somebody says, Swamiji used to say, he was a good storyteller also. So he would try to actualize it as the real story. He says, I went to Bombay, or then he sometimes this fellow from Tamil Nadu went to Bombay first time and then saw this apartment. And then his friend or cousin came to pick him up. He took him, he says, where is your house? This is my house, here. He saw this 20-story building. Oh, this whole building is yours? He says, no. One flat is mine. I'll take you to my flat. Then he took him to the flat. And then this is your flat? This whole floor is yours? No. Only one apartment is mine. Then everything is yours? Yes, it is mine. Then he said, what is yours? He was telling with reference to Mamakara. He said, this floor is yours? Well, yes. No. This is the ceiling of the fellow who lives below. And your ceiling is the flooring of somebody else. This wall is of the next neighbor. All the 4 walls are connected to each other. So nothing belongs to you. Finally, he will prove. What belongs to you is this space. Then finally that fellow said, this entire space is mine. then Swamiji would say, that guy said, why you limit yourself to this much? Go out, whole space you can own if you want to own. This is not yours. So coming back to this amurtaha, though we call it my space, that fellow says, this is my space, my apartment, my house or home. It is he or she is only claiming as my space. And that my space is only with reference to some walls. So all my space and my neighbor's space and another neighbor's space and my another neighbor's space and my top fellow's space and all the spaces are total space. That is what the Tatparya is. Purusha evedam sarvam. Look at the mantra. Purusha evedam sarvam. Purusha is sarvam. And that Purusha is sarvam. We have discussed this in 2 classes. Purusha is sarvam, is samanadikaranyam. Badhayam samana. One stands negate, like saying sthanurayam purusha or ayam rajju ayam sarpaha. The snake is rope. So rope stands negated. What is rope. Similarly, this purusha, there was a post or tree trunk and in a darkness, and this fellow mistook it as a ghost. It had few branches here and there, and leaves were moving. He thought the ghost is calling, got fright. This Thanuhu Ayam Purusha, the so-called Purusha, that ghost that you see is nothing but tree trunk. Or Swami Chinmayananda used to say, Indian post office post box, this is ghost. This is not ghost, this is post, he would say. So this is post, means one is negate. Purusha evedam sarvam. So everything is nothing but expression of arupa Purusha. Then what is everything that we have seen? If everything is expression of arupa Purusha, the so-called everything is not everything. The so-called everything is mithya. What is mithya? Again and again I'll keep telling, because there is a lot of confusion in mithya. There is a lot of mithya going about mithya. Mithya is not an object. It is your understanding about the reality of a thing. Idam sarvam mithya means that which is something what you see, so-called an object. When that your understanding about that object is mithya, what does it mean? That object is, that isness of a given object belongs to something else. The sentiency of that object belongs to something else. It doesn't belong to itself. Bengal is mithya. What does it mean? The Bengal's isness. That Bengal is because gold is. Bengal shines yellow because gold shines yellow. So Bengal is mithya. Mithya means what? Its existence and illumination is borrowed. Jagat is mithya. So isness of all the objects of Jagat and expressions or sentiency, whatever you say, it doesn't belong to Jagat per se. It belongs to that Purusha, who is Asti Bhati Priyam. The Purusha who is Satchidananda. To him, all this belongs. It doesn't exist on its own. And giving reality to mithya means what? You don't see the very substratum of mithya. You just gloss over the very adhishthanam because of which mithya is. That is called giving mithya reality. Means what? If I give an example, not to see the gold, see only the design, only the ornament. That perception, if I fail to, if I just am so enchanted that they say, I fall for that ornament. Therefore, in India, this is a typical Indian example. When there is shopping, especially golden ornaments, suppose a girl's marriage is taking place, and then they have to buy some ornaments. She will not go alone. The mother also will go, and not only the daughter and mother will go, the grandmother also will go. You know why? The girl, this bride always looks for designs. How I look? Is it the one that so-and-so heroine wore? Will it match with this dress? Will it go with this? Then she likes it. And suddenly, I like it, I want that. And the second part, each one has a role, The mother asks for the price, how much it is. If it is some 2-3 real diamonds and is very costly, then she will forget it. But suppose this is within the range of affording capacity, then final stamping, like the president will sign, the grandma of the bride will tell, no, not worth. It's not worth buying. Or she will say, yes, it is worth buying. Why? She sees the gold. She knows this is real gold. They have some knack to recognize. And then they buy. So the daughter's perception, you can say, giving reality to mithya, being oblivious of the gold. She doesn't look at it. And the grandma sees the ornament. She may tell her also, now show me how does it look to you. And then she says, you look so sweet and so beautiful, blah, blah, blah. But then she sees the gold. Similarly, Jagat need not be dissolved. Giving reality to mithya is just seeing the design, seeing the name and the form, and miss the substrate. What is wisdom? While noticing the name and form, I see the substratum as well. I see the world as an expression of the same Aksharam Brahma. Or you can say, I see the world as an expression of Ishvara. That's why it is said, Isha Vasyam Idam Sarva. In that sentence also, there is a Bhata Samanadhikaran. You negate it out. Idam stands negated. Like this snake is rope. The snake gets negated and only the rope is recognized. Similarly, you recognize Ishvara. That Satyam Gnanam Brahma, Anantam Brahma, who as though is becoming or who is referred to as Ishvara, because that Arupa Brahma is wielding its own creative power called Prakriti, and therefore he is becoming Sarupa, not becoming, he manifests himself as Sarupa, and that Sarupa is to be appreciated as manifestation of Brahman. You see, continue saying names and form. You keep using them. But then, knowledge alone, we call it mithya. This chain is mithya when I say the object chain per se, I am not saying. I am saying my understanding about the reality of the chain, that is mithya, and my satyam is my understanding about the reality of the chain, that is gold, that is satyam. I understand chain is because the gold is. So, the mithya vastu not being there at all. Whatever is expression of that Satyam. And therefore, we don't say that Jagat is not there. Sometimes the sentence is used, Jagine Jom to Jagat di sene. That means you don't, not that you stop seeing the world. Having woken up, I saw that there is no world. That is having woken up from meditation. This fellow was in deep meditation and he woke up and didn't see the world. That is called hangover, not meditation. It's simple. Too much of it, you had it, and therefore you see that this is how it is only hangover. It is mithya. This fellow, because understand, the eyes are also mithya. When I say everything is an expression of Purusha, my body is Purusha expression. My ears are his expression. My eyes are his expression. My nose is his expression. My mind is expression of Purusha. And that is through as a Vivarta Karanam. And that being a case, the one mithya sees another mithya, full stop. Why you have a problem? Why we should resolve it and dissolve it all the way? I should not see the world. And they say, such and such a Mahatma was so great. After coming out of Samadhi for some time, they were not seeing anything. I said, give him good lunch. He would start seeing and eating. You don't stop seeing the world. You don't stop listening the world. They have the same reality, Vyavaharikam. So that will continue. Okay? Therefore, listen this. Shruti gives a prakriya of creation. Srishti prakriya. How this world came. The process is given in different Upanishads. And there is a difference in description, in discussion. But the tatparya, the essence of all this is not to tell you that which established the creation. Tatparya is to establish whatever creation is Ishvara. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. That's the essence of all this. We are not denying or dismissing that there should not be duality. We are just saying, don't give reality to duality. What you see is there, but it is not the real. The reality of it is Asti Satyam Gnanam Anantam Brahma. Okay? Now, having said this, Shankaracharya very rightly says this sentence, Ataha yad uktam tadetat abhihitam kasminnu bhagavo vignate sarvamidam vignatam bhavati iti. Etaha etasmin hi parasmin atmani sarvakarane, etc. The question was, remember the first chapter, first section, first month, second, third mantra. Kasminnu bhagavo vignate sarvamidam vignatam. Having known which, everything becomes known as well. The answer is, when it says Purusha evedakum sarvam, idam sarvam is Purusha. That means what? If you know Purusha, you know everything as well. Understand? So what Shaunaka had asked, having known which, the answer is Purusha, or answer is Akshara. Divyo hyamurta Purusha, Akshara bahya bhentarasyaja. That Akshara Purusham, Purusha being everything, knowing Purusha, everything as well becomes known. And he just concludes that What is the phalam of this Purusha? In few weeks, we look at the 10th mantra again. I'll just chant it. Purusha evedam vishwam karma. Purusha evedam vishwam karma. Tapo brahma paramrutam. Tapo brahma paramrutam. Etadyo veda nihitam guhayam. Etadyo veda nihitam guhayam. So vidya granthim vikirati saumya. So vidya granthim vikirati saumya. E saumya. Oh beloved, Purusha eva idam sarvam. Purusha vedam vishwam. Purusha is this Vishwa. Whole creation is Purusha. Nothing is left out of him. And then he adds to what is it? Karma, tapo, brahma, paramurtam. All these karmas and karma phalas. Tapaha means upasanas, austerities. Idam Brahma. It is, everything is Brahma. It is which Brahma? Vivarta upadana karanam. And who is nimitta karanam? That is himself. But primarily told Vivarta upadana karanam Brahma. Ida tasmat idam sarvam Brahma. Iti ena gnatam saha paramrutam Brahma. Etadyo veda nihitam gruhaya. One who knows this Purusha, where nihitam guhaya, placed in guha, in a cave, that is there in a cave. What kind of cave are you talking? You know, how do you say nihitam guhaya? Where you have to know Brahman, that is its place. You have to know Brahman in buddhi, knowledge. So antakaranam, therefore it is in antakaranam. Why you say hidden guhaya? Generally, buddhi and sense organs are extrovert. They are always busy in looking around, looking at the world that is outside. Always have a question, how and why about the world. This is Vishaya Buddhi. That Buddhi which is extrovert, that Buddhi which looks something outside himself, becomes introvert. Till then it is called Nihitam Guhaya. It is hidden in the cave of Buddhi. Chaitanya Rupena Samsthitam. You have to know this is its Swarupa and I am only its Vishaya. When one knows this Swarupa, what he means? He says, you know everything else as well that I mentioned, and that is there in previous mantra. But what do I get out of this knowledge? I know everything is Brahman, Ishavasya Vidam Sarvam. But so what? You know? Therefore, it says, what does it say? Avidya Granthi. You have Vedanihit. One who knows it's in the cave of heart. That means as a knowledge, it is there. I is there in Antakaranam. Who recognizes that I seated in Antakaranam. What happens to him? Avidya Granthim Vikirati Iha Saumya. A Granthi means knots. All the knots of ignorance he destroys, he removes. Vikshipayati Vinashayati. The fellow becomes free. Avidya Granthi is called knot because when in a knot, two things are tied up. Similarly, here Atma and Anatma gets tied. The Purusha in its Swarupa gets tied up in its manifestation. Upadhi is manifestation. Purusha is the self. But it gets tied up, means it identifies, it takes itself to be only this much. Therefore, avidya granthim, what does it do? Vikirati, iha only. Hridaya granthi means buddhi, not head or intellect, not of thinking. What happens with this not? The fellow who is akarta, who is abhokta, becomes karta and bhokta. The fellow who is janana marana rahita becomes janmavan maranavan. Ane mukta asmin yamin asmin dehe asmin deshe asmin kale eva asmin paristitau api. Whatever the situation is, that fellow becomes free from bondage caused by ignorance right now and here. We are not promising something hereafter. We are talking of something to be gained here right now without becoming anything. It is just a matter of discovering as to who am I. Okay? That is the essence of this. When he says avidya granthim vikirati iha saumya. Iha means a good luck. Iha, why good luck? You don't know next janma where will it happen. In these 84 lakhs of yonis, where the fellow will end up, God only knows. So when you come to know here, that's a good luck. Asmin janmani, asmin sharireva. We start new section from next week. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari